Switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
I spray and scrub, but the soap scum in my bathtub is still there.
I spray and scrub, but the burnt sauce on my stovetop sticks around.
Sprays can leave grime behind, but Mr. Clean Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser combines the scrubbing power of an eraser with the cleaning power of Dawn to melt away tough messes on contact.
Just wet, squeeze, and erase.
Stop spraying, start erasing, and clean with more magic than ever with Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Lovebirds, you're in for a treat. With your holiday proposal just around the corner, Shane Company is here to help you create your dream engagement ring. This is your moment. Let's make it magical. Through 4 generations as a family business, we've helped tons of couples find a beautiful engagement ring for a price that works with their budget. We've always sourced diamonds directly, cut out the middleman, and passed the savings on to you. At Shane Company, we have the widest selection of ring settings and center stones, in stock and ready to compare side by side. It's so easy. Choose a look that brings your vision to life. From classic styles to modern designs, we have them all. Then pick out a natural or lab-grown diamond, a sapphire in your favorite color, or a vibrant gemstone like ruby or amethyst. With our everyday competitive prices and free lifetime warranty, your forever after is safe with us. Visit shaneco.com and come see us in store. We've got your dream ring and fine jewelry gifts for everyone on your list. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
KMVP FM Phoenix.
Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
On the Arizona Sports app and on 98.7.
State of the Sun Devils pregame show with Jeremy Schnell, Jesse Morrison, and Damon Allred.
Touchdown, Sun Devils! South American Stadium inside the Santan Ford Club. It's the State of the Sun Devils pregame show alongside Jesse Morrison, Damon Allred. I'm Jeremy Schnell. The biggest game in over a decade for Arizona State, and it's happening right here in Tempe, Arizona. Arizona State taking on BYU. It's what we've all been waiting for, guys. A team that can get to this point in the season and still have a chance to win a championship. And they still have a chance to get to the Big 12 championship game, Damon.
And a playoff spot as well.
Yeah.
I think this game is a pretty stark reminder that whoever doesn't win this game is going to be looking at the outside of the playoff picture on both the Big 12 title race as well as the college football playoff. I don't think anybody would have expected this in Kenny Dillingham's second season.
Absolutely massive game. You've got the number 21 Sun Devils, number 14 BYU. Again, massive conference title implications with this one. I'm so excited to be here.
It's going to be incredible, and it's going to be a great atmosphere. It's the hottest ticket in the country, guys. The most expensive ticket in the country right here in Tempe, Arizona. We wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you so much for joining us today. Big news that came this morning, though. We're hearing that Brian Ward and Arroyo are both getting extensions. Damon, you've been waiting for this for a while. You heard what Kenny said on Monday about taking care of the coordinators, and they got taken care of, it seems like.
Yeah, he talked about his priority is, number one, getting the assistants taken care of because of the great job that they've done this season. Obviously a huge improvement from last season offensively as well as defensively. And even last season, Brian Ward had already gotten an extension at the end of the season because of what he showed for the foundation that he laid with that defense. That was something we talked about with Shamari Simmons when he joined the show earlier in the week. Yep. Just incredible to see this show of faith in the direction that the program is going, and it's a huge step toward keeping all that big talent that needs to be kept around this offseason.
Pete Thamel of ESPN reports that it's going to be an average of $1 million for both of them, and that's just up. He said that's up in the top of the coordinators for the Big 12, and that's huge. I mean, they've shown massive improvement this season on both sides of the ball. We've seen that, and then I think now this sets up that it's time for Kenny Dillingham himself to get an extension, because what he has done in just his second season at 8-2. I mean, I know he says he wants to be here for a long time, and I think he will, but you still got to pay him, very good money to stay here.
Let's go through the scenarios for today. We talked about how much is at stake here today, and where Kenny Dillingham has gotten this team to in just his second season is remarkable. Listen, ASU kind of controls its own destiny, but there's one caveat. If BYU loses next week to Houston and ASU wins out, both Iowa State and Colorado win out, ASU would miss out on the Big 12 championship game.
With a caveat there.
I'm listening.
So if all those things happen that you just laid out, and Cincinnati finishes ahead of Kansas in the standings, then suddenly it's ASU back in front of Iowa State.
Just to be at this spot, Jesse, incredible.
Yeah, I didn't think this would happen in year two. I thought that a successful season, I'll be completely honest here, I thought a successful season would be 4 wins, getting 1 win more than last year. And that's building on something. That's building on the previous 2 seasons of 3 wins. I thought 4 to 5 wins would be a massive success in year 2. And here we are ranked, talking about a conference championship and the college football playoff. It's just unbelievable.
It all starts here today in, again, the hottest ticket in the country right now, ASU versus BYU. Let's get into the matchup. It's Sam Leavitt. It's Jake Retzlaff. It's a big-time quarterback matchup, and Sam Leavitt is coming into this game very hot. I mean, since coming off the injury against Cincinnati, he's been on fire.
Yeah, he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the country over the last 5 weeks or so, really since he came back from that injury. The amount of touchdowns to interceptions that he's had this season, you talked about wanting to get into the turnover margin.
Yeah.
Sam Leavitt only throwing 4 interceptions in his first season as a starter, as a redshirt freshman. The way he sees the field has grown immensely. The way he's seen how Jordan Tyson is matching up against defenses has grown immensely. The way they've been able to connect on some of those fade routes in the red zone, some of the sideline routes in the open field, I think that he is just operating on such a high level right now. With Retzlaff, it's kind of the similar things. I think if you're projecting into next season, early stages obviously, you might pick Sam and Jake to be the best quarterbacks in the Big 12 next year.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Colorado getting a big recruit in Julian Lewis is going to make an impact on that if Deion Sanders sticks around, and they've got a top quarterback there. But Sam and Jake kind of leading the conference right now.
Yeah, with Sam Leavitt, though, we're talking about a quarterback that can do it all on the field, right, Jesse? We're looking at how he's just grown throughout the season. He can do it with his arm. He can do it with his legs. And what I've seen from the BYU defense, not a lot of sacks, not a lot of pressure on the quarterback. So he's going to have time to make those throws here today.
Yeah, and that opens up the field for him to continue that connection with Jordan Tyson, which I've been super impressed with. It's just gotten better and better as the year has gone on. And if he has time back there to just sit and find Tyson, he can, maybe pick apart this defense, which is a pretty good pass defense. But, I think I saw in the last 2 games of watching film on BYU that some of the deep shots, intermediate throws, BYU is susceptible to allowing completions. So I think ASU can have moderate success in the passing game.
Yeah, and let's get into Retzlaff a little bit. 2,200 yards, over 19 touchdowns now, 8 interceptions, 312 yards on the ground. The 8 interceptions is what should concern a BYU fan. He stands in the pocket a lot. That's something that, I saw from his tape is he takes a long time to go through his reads. So if ASU can get to him a little bit today, it's going to lead to poor decision-making from Retzlaff, I would think.
Right, and there are stats to back that up, too. Jake Retzlaff's numbers just plummet when he's not kept clean in the pocket. But when he's able to have a few seconds, he's really good at deciphering defenses. So ASU is going to have to make sure that they're quick in their pass rush looks. Really, if you get through the first 2 or 3 seconds without allowing him to get something quick off, it's going to help a lot. But on the other side of it, too, Sam Leavitt going up against his family legacy in this game, really. His dad was a linebacker for BYU. His brother was a safety for BYU, then played in the NFL for several years. BYU did not offer Sam Leavitt out of high school. This has been a big talking point for Sam in many of these matchups, is teams that didn't offer him out of high school. He, made sure to mention ASU didn't offer him either. But, of course, Kenny Dillingham was his first offer when Kenny was at Florida State. So a big game for Sam in terms of that.
Yeah, this could be kind of a revenge game for Sam Levitt. He's the school that your dad and brother went to. If you're at least a solid college or high school quarterback and they don't offer you, that's got to put a big chip on your shoulder. And for this one, I think he's probably got some extra motivation. And he told you, Damon, that he's got some extra motivation. So I expect him to come out here and just really be locked in this one.
Yeah, it's interesting, too, when you consider he took a visit when he was in the portal and still ended up choosing ASU. So it's really cool to see how this set up for him.
Now let's talk about third down defense for ASU. That's something that they've done really well this season. 58.3 per QBR for quarterbacks against ASU. That's up, down, better by 40 points from last season.
Right. ASU is just doing such a good job of making life hard on quarterbacks in those situations. Obvious pass looks where you can just kind of set things up to be like, okay, we're going to have so much of the field tasked to blitzing the quarterback, and then the rest of it, we're going to set up a really good pass look. We don't even have to worry about the run fits. And, it's been an issue at times. Kenny piped in some crowd noise into practice this week. I don't know if you guys saw about this.
I saw, yep.
Piped in some crowd noise, not because of expecting some BYU fans in Mountain America Stadium today, but because he said the third down defense has been better on the road than it has been at home. So he's been trying to simulate that same environment.
Yeah, and I want to see ASU rush the passer in this game. As we mentioned,
we talk about that every week.
Jake Retzlaff doesn't do as well against the blitz, and if they get in a third and long situation, I want them to send the blitz. I want them to put him under pressure and make him really work for it, because Prince Dorba, Clayton Smith, they got to get those guys going in this game.
Yeah, and the dynamic duo of Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson, let's talk about that real quick. 5 touchdowns in the past 3 weeks, 3 games for Jordan Tyson. He's been one of the best receivers in the country.
Yeah, the best receiver in the country. No one has more yards since week 7.
It's incredible.
He's currently tied with Travis Hunter for the most receiving touchdowns in the Big 12.
So should he win the Heisman, Jess?
I don't know about that.
He's been amazing, though, and what he's brought to the team as a leader, too, and just like a rallying cry as well. We saw the viral video of him dancing on the lockers, and Shamari mentioned, get down from there. We don't need you to get hurt. But really just an incredible connection these two have, and when you think about what it could be even next year, like he's been leading the country in receiving since week 7. He might lead the country in receiving for a whole season next year.
Yeah, and being able to have that dynamic duo for what seems to be 1 or at least 2 more years, that's going to be special for ASU going forward as well.
Yeah, it's going to be huge for ASU going forward. Hopefully, Jordan could technically go pro this year. Hopefully he doesn't. Hopefully he stays for 1 more year. I think he could use it personally to keep developing. So I think, going forward, this could be next year even better than this year, which is crazy because last week Jordan Tyson had 12 catches for 176 yards and 2 touchdowns, which I don't know if you can get much better than that.
When we come back on the State of the Sun Devils pregame show, we're going to touch on Cam Scadaboo. What can he do this week against the BYU rush defense? That's next on the State of the Sun Devils pregame show, live from Mountain America Stadium.
As a business owner, you wear a lot of hats. 1 minute you're ordering today's inventory, and the next you're planning tomorrow's expansion. It's complicated, but your business credit card should be simple. With the Signify Business Cash Card by Wells Fargo, you earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases for your business with no caps or categories to track. Signify Business Cash, the deliberately simple business credit card. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/signify. Terms apply.
I don't feel so good.
You do feel hot. Dayquil Kids will take care of that fever.
What about my cough?
Dayquil Kids has that covered.
Will it make my throat feel better?
Yes, that too.
But will it taste good?
Yep, Dayquil Kids comes in your favorite flavor.
Purple?
Well, yes, it's grape.
Try new Dayquil Kids Plus Fever, the daytime coughing, aching, sore throat fever just for kids medicine. Safe for kids 6+. Use as directed.
Ooh, ma. What was that?
That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm, I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My check engine light's on?
That could hurt your gas mileage. The AutoZone free Fix Finder service can help find the fix for free.
Get in zone.
This whole report for free?
That's right, printed and on your phone for free.
Get in zone.
But what if the fix is too tough?
We'll recommend a local shop. Fix Finder, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
This holiday season, Capital One reminds you to give yourself the gift of 1.5% cash back with the Capital One Quicksilver Card.
Can I earn 1.5% cash back on birds?
Birds?
What if you sent your true love 2 turtle doves plus a partridge in a pear tree?
Sure, but why would anyone want that?
The song was very convincing.
Earn 1.5% cash back on all your holiday purchases with the Capital One Quicksilver Card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Hi, I'm Kamiko, the founder of Miko's Hot Chicken. When we started our family restaurant, we were also raising a family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase Ink card was there to reward us on all of our business needs. Now we have a thriving location, and we're hungry for more.
With the Chase Ink Business Unlimited card, you can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
ASU football. State of the Sun Devils pregame show with Jeremy Schnell, Jesse Morrison, and Damon Allred.
Welcome back to the State of the Sun Devils pregame show here live from Mountain America Stadium at the Santan Ford Club alongside Jesse Morrison, Damon Allred. I'm Jeremy Schnell. All right, Cam Scadaboo didn't have the week that we wanted him to have last week, or ASU fans would have wanted him to have last week.
I kind of expected it, though,
yeah.
Given the amazing run defense that Kansas State has. They just really get to the running back and make it hard for a running back.
But what can we expect from him today? Watching the tape from BYU's last 2 games, they give up a lot of yards on the ground. But not just that. Running backs break a lot of tackles, and that's Cam Scadaboo's game, man.
Yeah, it lines right up with what he does best. We haven't really talked about him too much yet, just because of how much of a groove Sam Leavitt and Jordan Tyson have been in, I think. But, yeah, like you mentioned, BYU's kind of a middle of the pack in the Big 12 as far as their rush defense. They're 8th with 139.2 rushing yards per game allowed. Cam Scadaboo, a little bit of a rut right now, coming off the injury, of course. He's only had one incredible game since the Utah game, which was the Oklahoma State game with the 274 all-purpose yards. So it might be time for a little bit of a breakthrough after he's kind of taken a few weeks to be more part of the offense instead of the star of the offense.
He's been more human, I would say.
Yeah, right.
He was extraterrestrial-like against Utah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good way of describing it.
What do you think he needs to do? Obviously Jordan Tyson and Sam Leavitt have it going right now. Does he need to take a back seat when that is happening, or can he still get his today?
Absolutely not. Okay, today the key to me is this has to be a Cam Scadaboo game. I know that Sam has played better. I know that Jordan Tyson has played better. But watching this defense, this BYU defense on tape against Devin Neal, who kind of runs a little bit like Cam, I would say. Devin Neal is the Kansas running back. They played Kansas last week. That was BYU's first loss of the season. Devin Neal had Cam's style success. His touchdown runs that I saw, he broke tackles to get into the end zone. He could break tackles in other areas in his runs. They had success up the middle, which Cam is great at having success running up the middle. So I think that this game is a game that they really need to go to Cam, 25, 30, 35 times in this game.
And for a guy that has been a big game player for ASU, especially in this stadium, he's got to show up. But in the passing game, in the receiving game, pretty good last week as well, catching some balls out of the backfield, breaking some tackles.
Can that be something that also gets him going on the ground, Jesse?
Yes, because I saw as well last week against BYU that Devin Neal had some success in the receiving game. So Cam's not only going to be able to get it done on the ground, he's going to be able to get it done in the receiving game as well.
Yeah, and he's the only person in the 1,000 rushing yards, 300 receiving yards club in the country this season. Just an incredible job that he's done in really terms of both sides of the offense. He was named a semifinalist for the Maxwell Award, which is the Offensive Player of the Year award in college football. I mean, just the amount of difference that he makes for the ASU offense when he's hitting, everything else is working for ASU. We've talked about how Kenny likes to stay balanced. The Levitt and Tyson connection doesn't happen if Scattaboo and the run game aren't as established as it is.
For BYU and their passing attack and their skill position players, listen, it hasn't looked good over the past 2 games for BYU. They scored 13 points last week, 22 the week before. They were scoring in the 30s every single week ever since the SMU game, which they eked out by 3 points in the second game of the season. For ASU to be able to stop these skill position guys, do they have to go off of what Utah and what Kansas did the past 2 weeks, or just continue to do what they have done in their secondary?
I mean, I definitely think you look back at what the last 2 teams have done who have had success against BYU. I think that a lot of BYU's issues, though, have been Retzloff being a little bit of a gunslinger. There's some throws that he has made that I'm like,
8 picks.
Woo.
Yeah.
And so I've seen that, and I think ASU could capitalize on some turnovers in this game,
Sure.
which we've seen them do this year. But they also, ASU really does need to focus on stopping the run in this game. LJ Martin, and they have a backup as well that's good, Rapati, he's good as well. So they got to focus on stopping the run, because that's what I saw doing kind of the best for BYU in the past couple of weeks, is their running game looked solid.
For ASU, 3 turnovers on defense last week. Obviously, the 2 dropped snaps on the field goals. In terms of their defense and taking the ball away, how important is that to their success here today?
Yeah, we talked about how it's going to be really important to get more of a blitz rate than they normally have gotten this season, but it's also going to be really important to stay disciplined in your alignment, because of how well BYU, when they were clicking earlier in the season, how well they were using play action. And this kind of goes back to last week's game against Kansas State. Kansas State likes to use a lot of play action, and so ASU might have a little bit of, some fresh memory of how to deal with a play action offense. Some of our friends over at the sister station, KSL Sports, they were talking about, maybe BYU starts to get back to some of that play action stuff this week. I think that if that does happen, ASU's just got to stay really disciplined within it.
I do want to make one point as well. Kansas State, on the road at BYU, I believe, played much better against BYU than they did against Arizona State. So take that
They
with
had
what
9
you will.
points, though. It was 38-9. It was a
Okay,
yeah.
Wrong game. Sorry, I was thinking of a different game. My bad. Apologies.
No, but we'll talk about Chase Roberts for a second. 659 yards, 4 touchdowns for BYU this season. And then obviously Darius Lassiter, 576 yards, 4 touchdowns. They really spread the ball around in this offense. That's not – their game isn't just to have one guy do all the work and run the show. For BYU today and for ASU's secondary, and Shamari Simmons and all the other guys, friend of the program, Shamari Simmons, thanks for coming on earlier this week, must say. How do they stop a real good wide receiver core for BYU?
Yeah, so Roberts 6'4", Lassiter 6'2". Both of them have really good speed. Both of them have a really good nose for space in the defense. It's kind of a situation where ASU can't play a ton of zone because of how good those two are in space and how well BYU moves them around on the field in terms of, Roberts is almost a 50-50 split in terms of out wide versus in the slot, which I think to see as much of the slot from someone who's 6'4", I think that really speaks to how he moves and how smart he is in terms of finding that space. I think the ASU corners are going to have their work cut out for them, Robinson and Abney, but, like Simmons as well, like you mentioned.
In the slot, yeah.
He's been incredible in the slot. We actually have a really good stat, thanks to Sun Devil Athletics for this one. He's played the third most slot coverage snaps in the country this season with 289, but is just one of 8 players in the country with at least 200 snaps to not allow a touchdown.
Okay, now I have my point. I found the right game. So Darius Lassiter, you got to watch out for him because against Oklahoma State was the game that he had a 35-yard touchdown at the end of the game with like 10 seconds left to win them that game. Otherwise, BYU would have lost to Oklahoma State. Now take this as you will. ASU ran all over Oklahoma State. And BYU played a very close game. Almost, honestly, should have lost that game. And so take that as you will as far as who's the better team here. But I think that's something that you got to look into.
Transitive property.
Yeah, exactly.
Damon, in terms of what ASU can do against Retzlaff, we talked about it earlier, but getting the pressure on him, he does stay in the pocket for a long time. If ASU can get that pressure, they don't have a lot of sacks this season, and we've been talking about it for the past 3 years. Can ASU get pressure on the quarterback?
We've been talking about it, I feel like, longer than that. Like, going back to Herm Edwards, maybe even Todd Graham, they need to get more pressure on the quarterback. It's just been a theme every single season.
Yeah, they've got 18 sacks on the year. Brian Ward talks about he has an annual goal of 40 sacks each season, which, obviously
don't think that's going to happen.
It's a pretty lofty goal, but it's good to shoot for the stars. It's got to be, just we've talked about it week after week. These blitz looks that he shows pre-snap, he's got to bring some of them home today. Whether it is people on the defensive line that are rotating in, getting good looks in their one-on-one matchups and doing their 111th, as Ward likes to talk about, but just a huge key to the game is that pass rush.
Zero blitz, guys?
No, ASU doesn't do well with
There's
that.
too much that they can do on the back end.
Okay.
Let's go through the guys that are getting recognized today on the field before the game. The senior day here, Xavier Guillory, Cam Scatteraboo, Melquan Stovall, Jeff Clark, Shamari Simmons, Jake Smith, Elijah O'Neal, Trenton Bourget.
That's a big one. He should kneel it out if ASU is in position.
I was thinking about that last night.
We need to talk about this real quick. Trenton Bourget has meant so much to this team. He's been here 6 years. He stayed through all the...
His brother's here.
Yeah, his brother's here. Everything. He's got a sister coming here to play beach volleyball. He's really stuck through, everything that's gone on. And he filled in nicely, especially in 2022 as the starting quarterback. So if ASU's in the position to kneel this one out, put him in. And also, interesting fact, his brother is the backup quarterback at BYU, or one of the backup quarterbacks.
Caleb McCullough, DeCarlos Brooks, Ray Smallam, Cade Briggs, Emmett Boley, and Lee Fontenot. Great Sun Devils guys.
Leaf, man, what a
guys that stuck around through the thick and thin.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great to see them recognized before the game. All right. Damon, your prediction, quickly.
I'm going 28-10 ASU.
Wow. Big win there.
I think Cam's going to have a really good game, and I think ASU wins this one. It's the Big 12, so points. 35-31.
I'm going to go 28-21. ASU wins on a last-second touchdown.
Okay.
I think it's going to come down to the wire. The crowd's going to be into this one. It's going to be really fun. Obviously,
what an atmosphere it's going to be.
I've mentioned it a few times. The hottest ticket in the country in terms of pricing. And, yes, Jesse.
And get here early because the crowd is going to, there's homecoming, there's traffic closers. Like, you got to be here early for this one.
Guys, this is going to be fun. I hope we're here after the game talking about what we saw was one of the best games in ASU history. Still got a lot of work to do throughout the next 2 weeks in order to make it to the Big 12 championship game.
And create a very stressful Territorial Cup week.
And it will create a very stressful Territorial Cup game. That's going to do it for this edition of State of the Sun Devils pregame show. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Thanks to Kevin McCabe, Kevin Malater, Matt Lazaris, Jeff Munn and Sean Crespin for joining or for helping us out on everything today. We really appreciate it. For Jesse Morrison, Damon Allred, I'm Jeremy Schnell. We'll talk to you after the game.
Men, whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized plans to optimize your health. With 10 clinics throughout the Phoenix Scottsdale area, Game Day Men's Health focuses on delivering premium testosterone replacement therapy, removing the stigma around erectile dysfunction, supporting weight loss goals, and more. Text AZ Sports to 406 Game Day to set up your free testosterone test and consultation.